Wow, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to say I saw this coming, but based off the live feeds, I definitely, and many live feedsters, were under the impression that this HOH would be thrown 1000% to Ozzy. Now, I'm happily surprised that Xavier is taking up this mantle, but I know for a fact he doesn't plan on targeting Brent like the women want him to. The men want a woman gone this week. The women want a man gone this week. Dare I say, this week is going to be the battle of the sexes, coach. But before we get into this rant, let's celebrate the fact that we've gotten black excellence back to back weeks. I mean, I'm a bit shocked at this.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought?
Not me.
I mean, really, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't see this coming, and this is something worth celebrating. But without further ado, let's get into the 12th rant of Big Brother 23. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the critically acclaimed, the Pop the Trunk podcast, now Patreon exclusively sponsored Hall of Fame. Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. With me, of course, is your humble host, Dave Smith, Pretty Boy Smitty, Protocol Paul, Pearl Game Ultra, Smid Dog Trio, The Rant God, Hotep Thanos, Throne Thanos, Metro Kaiba, The Pro Black Prodigy, The Shadow Realm Shaman, The Pronoun Punisher, The No Sleep Assassin, here to bring balance back to Big Brother 23 US. All of the above on that ISET test. And ACT, you know what it is. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, for the 12th rant of Big Brother 23 US entitled Cut the Mustard. And now that French's is finally sent to the Shadow Realm, it's pretty self-explanatory why I call it that. But I don't just call it Cut the Mustard because of the obvious. I call it that because now I can emphatically say that this game is proving itself to be very interesting. Because I gotta tell y'all, I know a lot of black fans wanted Brent gone this week. But ladies and gentlemen, I was torn over this. Brent, while he is capable of being problematic, while I will admit, and I do have live feeds notes that suggest that he's relying on microaggressions to try to paint a target on Azza. Understand, by Xavier becoming this HOH, I'm happy that Brent will most likely not get targeted this week. And here's why. Ladies and gentlemen, the last thing we want is for it to be a whole bunch of dudes taken out back to back to back to back to back, and then people complain down the line that the game got too boring because there's no one willing to go against the grain. Right? We always want people to always feel like they're safe, but not too safe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, based off the feeds, we have a lot of new alliances here. So please allow me to try to break this down because it's a bit confusing. Now, Brent and Whitney, and along with the rest of Team Aces, they have worked their way into two separate alliances. Now, their alliances are called the Radicals and the Mafia. The Mafia appears to be aces infused with queens. Radicals appears to be aces infused with kings. Now, we already know that the kings and queens have their own royal kingdom, if you will. Kaida Knight even coined it the royal flush, and it also includes Zhao in it, making it a solid 8. Now, this alliance Brent doesn't know about. So Brent heading into this HOH, he absolutely threw it because he was under the impression everybody was in on targeting Brittany and Azza. Here's the thing. Coming into this HOH, a lot of fans were under the impression anyone that was within the old slaughterhouse, not named Brent or Whitney, had no incentive to win HOH because you will have to expose your game by targeting them right after Frenchie. Now, here's the thing. The jig is up. If Frenchie created Slaughterhouse and he's no longer here, technically the alliance is no longer here. I feel like Brent is holding on to a straw man's argument, believing he can hold people to this mythical standard of you have to be loyal to this alliance that even I flipped on last week. Brent, you flipped on it too, coach. Isn't that the whole purpose for the Mafia and the Radicals' existence? Because you even realized that Slaughterhouse was dead? So this provides Xavier with an out if a woman were to win veto. This does provide him an out if Brent puts his foot in his mouth more. But I do like the optics, though, of Azza being in trouble, being threatened by Brent possibly coming after her, even if he decides to throw the HOH. I like the optics of Xavier winning the HOH to give Azza one more week to catch up here. What y'all need to understand is, from a gameplay standpoint, Azza's behind. Azza is like a super fan who was on vacation during the first week of feeds, and now she's trying to catch up. But the problem is, this season has been moving at such a fast pace because of Frenchie, it is impossible to really catch up once you're behind a week. I think this is Azza's biggest hurdle and obstacle in this game moving forward. Now, luckily for her, the cookout exists. Luckily for her, it doesn't appear a pagonging is going to happen, barring Brittany gets sent home over Whitney. But I believe Whitney gets taken out 100% before a Brittany. I believe this house all come to the agreement that Brittany isn't as much of a threat as Whitney, especially since Whitney is connected at the hip to Brent. Also, ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget, Brent just competed in the wild card comp, meaning he can't compete in this week's wild card comp because he's competed in the last one, which he didn't have to compete in the one before. If I'm Brent, I would have made someone else compete in that one a week ago because, in theory, you really needed this one. But in Brent's mind, he's going to believe the alliances and the deals he's made is what's keeping him off the block this week, when in reality, no. It's the need to get a woman sent to the Shadow Realm because two strong men have been sent there back to back. So understand, Xavier had to win this HOH to stop the bleeding from a male standpoint. So Brent will misconstrue this as, oh, Xavier really loves me or likes me because he's protecting me, when in reality, that's not the truth. The truth is, Xavier knows it's better for the men to whack Whitney next. And honestly, everyone thought Xavier would be the thirsty guy over Whitney, but it's funny. I've seen mainly black women on social media. They hated and despised Brent, and rightfully so, because he was stalking Hannah. It's giving us Caleb and Amber vibes from BB23. I gotta keep it funky. It's giving us those vibes, coach. And then when production tries to co-sign this showmance that never will be, it makes it even more creepy, but I digress. Now, black fans clearly wanted Brent gone. They prioritized him leaving after Frenchie before Whitney. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've been under a rock today, but Whitney just recently kissed Kai on the lips on feeds. Now, it was a little tongue-in-cheek. No pun intended. It was a little tongue-in-cheek. It was a little bit of a joke, but Frenchie and Frazier saw it up close. Now, my thing is, now that we know that Flambeau has a Final 3 deal with Xavier and Kai, number one, Frazier, I'm impressed that you really pivoted as quickly as you did, because you still found a way to give a sympathy vote to Frenchie, which I still think was bad gameplay. But you're lucky Xavier's the next HOH and not a woman, because in my opinion, if the right woman was the next HOH, Frazier's the one who's probably the target of the house this week, because I think women won't go after women. I think women would most likely go after another easy guy, and they would make Frazier the natural 1-2 to take out right after Frenchie. So make no mistake about it, Xavier winning this HOH helps Flambeau get back on footing as well. That's important to mention. So, as you all can tell, the only joker that's really in trouble with Xavier winning this, it's Brittany, a.k.a. cultural appropriation. I think I can rap today. Ladies and gentlemen, did y'all watch that tonight? That would have to be some of the most cringy stuff I've ever seen production. And see, it's bad enough she did it during the edit. Then it was even worse when y'all basically put a battery in her backpack for her to do it as part of her speech. Listen, contrary to popular belief, y'all think we like that big meat shit. Most fans thought that big meat, real fans who understand real bars, they find that to be unbecoming and borderline offensive. I'm going to keep it real in these streets. Because to us, you're making a mockery of a culture that was bred and born out of the mud, out of the dirt, out of the struggle. If you can't relate to that struggle, then why are you trying so hard to be part of that culture in rap? Come on now. We talking about a kindergarten teacher, a martial artist. Look, I'm just saying, at the end of the day, there's a lot more depth to you. You ain't got to rely on that. And see, part of me feels like Frenchie left, her closest ally. Her two closest allies now are two black people, Frazier, Azza. Now she's almost pandering and placating to America because she assumes black people are rooting for her because she's with Azza and Flambeau. Black folks really don't care about you either way, Brittany. This makes us care a lot less about you. Just be yourself, yo. Now, maybe this is the D'Angelo alter ego rigging its ugly head, coach. But it's cringy nevertheless. Leave that stuff at home next time. I'm just saying what it is, man. You know what I mean? This the same chick asking for diamond power Avitos, but you gonna start cultural appropriating 2 days later? What's going on here? You feel it, dig me? I was waiting for International P to show up from Fight Club. Everybody settle down. Everybody settle down. It's the Fight Club. You know what I mean? Come on, coach. Did you see Kylan's reaction to her trying to spit some struggle bars tonight? Buddy was looking at her like, he looked like DJ Academics at the BET Awards. That dude was looking around. Should we smile or grin? What's up? You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it funky in these streets. Brittany, Brittini, D'Angelo, whatever your name is, all of the above on the ISAT, TASTE, and ACT. Please calm this down. I'm trying to take you seriously as a game player. It's hard for me to take you seriously after what I just witnessed. You feel me? I get it. You saw the movie 8 Mile. You thought you could be B Rabbit. I get it. I get it. Your name's Brittany B Rabbit. I get it. But you're from Niagara Falls, coach. You're not from Bed-Stuy. Chill out. You feel it, dig me? You damn and I'm not saying Canadians can't rap, but from what I've been told, Niagara Falls closer to Canada than it is to New York City. So I got to correct myself there, because some people's like, hey man, you acting like she from New York. We don't claim her. And see, that was around the WTF when people was checking me on that. So I'm saying this for all the people from New York that truly care about the culture. All right? I just had to give y'all a quick freestyle on that. It really rubbed me the wrong way. Production, you're doing a lot of good things, but stuff like that is moving forward 1 space, moving back 2 spaces. It's like, come on now, you know? Now, maybe there's some fans that thought that was cute. Maybe some fans thought it was funny. The majority of my fans, though, you see the chat, they're dying right now because me frying her is more entertainment than her with the struggle bars. If only I had Wendell Holland to show up like he did with Chris. You can't rap. You have no bars. Let it go. You feel it, dig me? And see, that's that's why I hope Xavier takes you out next, Brittany. I hope he sends a message. You feel it, dig me? Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, just won it for Milwaukee. Xavier is feeling it, all right? He might be told that they won the title during his HOH reign. I don't know. Maybe he getting some of that rub-off effect of momentum. I don't know. But I do know if he takes Brittany out after that whack performance of a 16, then, hey, man, the black community cannot question Xavier being on court ever again because he just regulated. Like Warren G, didn't he? R.I.P. Nate Dogg. But anyway, I digress. I had to give y'all, you know me. Y'all would have expected nothing less of me than to fry her for what she did, okay? I had to do what I had to do. I hope y'all understand. We then see Kylan. We then saw a very touching segment with Sarah talking about her father who passed away. It was truly touching. I'm happy that she shared this moment with someone like Kylan. I believe their final 2 is just growing stronger. And let's keep it real here. Sisters may have been very apprehensive and very hesitant when it comes to Whitney. I mean, a lot of people are calling her a bust-down Tatiana for some of her gameplay implementation. But we got to keep it a beam. Sarah is as professional as humanly possible when it comes to working with a black guy, to the point where I don't even see black women mad at Sarah. So that's the difference right there. I don't want the world just thinking black women are just angry while watching this, because black women don't hate Sarah. Black women like Dr. Bones. They just don't like Whitney trying to bust it open for a jury slot. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, dog. That's all I'm saying. But I digress, all right? I digress. So we see Kylan meeting with the other teams. This is probably Kai's only mistake because he asked for 2 weeks of safety from Team Aces over just 1. Now, at the end of the day, no one from Aces won HOH anyway, so it's not like it's going to sting Kai. And this is another reason why I'm happy with Xavier following up Kai's HOH with another one. This allows Kai to blend back in after that huge game-changing move of taking out Frenchie. Now you can argue if Xavier were to take out Whitney right after that, number one, I think black women would get back on side with him because, like, okay, he's not a simp for non-black women because he just took one out. All right, you got your card back. I think most of them will break even with him on that. You know, plus they don't like seeing her kiss Kai, so they'll feel like this is a net negative of +2. You feel it, dig me? I'm going to speak up for y'all. Don't worry. I see what y'all see. You know what I mean? Now, nobody besides Zhao was willing to promise Kai safety, but he was still smart enough to wait for Aces to leave before promising safety. Zhao is getting better at this game rapidly, coach. Pay attention here. We then see Kylan speak to Kings. Kai links Kings, Queens, and Derek X together, calls it a royal flush. On the feeds, I mean, this alliance is so strong. And see, I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. A lot of fans are mad at Hannah and Tiffany. Hold up, let me get some water. This is going to be tough to explain, but I'm going to freestyle it for y'all. Here we go. A lot of fans are mad at Hannah and Tiffany because they were aware of the fact that Brent and Whitney most likely would go after Azah, but they did not warn her prior to the HOH competition. Because of that, everyone thinks, okay, you got the small portion of black fans think, oh, it's just like some light skins, not being on code with the darker shaded girl. They go that way with it. Those are the ultras. You know, if you're a soccer fan, those are the ultras. Those are the ones we don't really co-sign that take too hard, right? And then you got the other group who are more so level-headed and they still believe, damn, Tiff, damn, Hannah, y'all can't let your sister in on valuable intel so she know how to go about tackling this week. Now, to be fair, Azah already knew something wasn't right. Azah already wanted Brent out. If they would have confirmed that, it wouldn't have changed much of what was on Azah's mind. In fact, I think it would have put more pressure on Azah to win this HOH over doing what she chose to do after Brent was taken out during the first round. I think Azah was smart to throw this HOH after saying she wanted to win it. Because now it doesn't come off like she threw it, and Xavier winning it, it at least can seem like he stepped up so she didn't have to. At least if they do happen to be a showman's later down the road, this can be part of the supercut. Look at her knight in shining armor. Taking the HOH mantle up to do what needs to be done to split up Whitney and Brent once and for all. But I guess that could all blow up in Xavier's face in the edit if Brittany happens to leave, who is Azah's close friend. Hey man, everything can't go your way. And see, this is why I'm kind of on Tiffany and Hannah's side, y'all. Please, hear me out. I get it. A lot of people feel like the two sisters should be on code with the other sister. But Azah is a week behind. You can't catch this girl up on all the stuff she ain't privy to in one conversation but whispering behind a door? It's a waste of time. I'm pretty sure Tiffany and Hannah now, with Xavier's HOH, will fill Azah in on a lot more because now they know Azah's cool for 7 more days. The cookout's safe. But what y'all gotta understand is Azah played a role in why it's easy for Brent to rely on microaggressions to label her a certain way. Understand, the reason why Azah's name is even circulating is because Brent labeled her a floater. She corrected him and said she's a coaster. He doesn't know the difference between a floater and a coaster. Now, to me, it's tomato. Either you are alpha in the game, making stuff happen, or you holding on the back of the bike. It's one of the two. Either you're being carried somewhere or you're doing the carrying. All right? Now, to Azah, there's a difference. Well, Andy's he's a floater. I'm more of a coaster. So you admit you were relying on Frenchie being your shield, and you were hiding behind him. Here's the thing. By you agreeing to hide behind Frenchie, whose HOH was absolutely horrible, you agreed to take all of the negative side effects of his HOH because you didn't differentiate yourself from Brittany or Frazier. You stayed in that room just like Flambeau. So to this house, you co-signed everything Frenchie did until it blew up in his face because you weren't out there creating those connections and bonds. Tiffany was. Hannah was. They've been in the Hunger Games, the Infinity War, since day 1, coach. You've been in the Infinity War since day 9. Y'all have experienced 2 different levels of PTSD so far. That's the truth. So when I see black fans questioning Tiffany and Hannah how on code they are over not filling Azah in and something that now has proven to be inconsequential, this is why I don't jump off the roof anymore. Because from a gameplay standpoint, Hannah and Tiffany had everything to lose by sharing that intel prematurely. And when you're sitting in such a good position that these two sisters are, why would you want to risk being in Azah's position when you don't have to risk it at all yet? Come on, ladies and gentlemen, this is about risk and reward here. Let's not make the superior players feel bad for being superior so far, just to make, and this is not me saying Azah is inferior, this is me saying her gameplay week 1 makes her perceived and appear inferior. So when you have Brent calling her a floater, More people are open. Yes, she is one. I mean, she hid behind Frenchie like one. See that? And then when Brent tries to narrate or change the narrative on how this conversation went by labeling Asa as this confrontational person, we know what that is. That's the microaggressive part. Where it's like, no, she just created a difference between floater and coaster. Now you're trying to make her seem like she has an attitude for raising her voice over something she never had to raise her voice for. Asa hasn't raised her voice yet this season. Even when she could have with Frenchie, she still didn't do it. Now, me, I'm going to keep it a bean. I'm going to tell y'all what the truth is. I don't care what the color of the player is because I like every player this season. I do, especially all the players left. So, well, okay, Brent, he's wearing thin on me with the microaggressions. But outside of Brent, though, I like Whitney. I don't really have no big problem with her because of the gameplay she's playing. Whitney is showing herself capable of throwing this HOH to set Brent up to fail. But Whitney, that might prove to be the biggest choke of this week because you needed to win not only to protect Brent, but yourself. I understand Zhao and Hannah throwing this. They're nowhere near the hierarchy of being taken out. But Whitney, you should have been trying to win this 1,000%. 1,000%. Yes, you can argue Brent had to win it too, but I really believe Whitney should have been trying to win this to gain more power, especially coming out of Frenchie leaving. Frenchie has dragged your name through the mud. This was the important change moment, in my opinion, for you to change the narrative on your game once and for all. This is kind of why I wanted Azai to take the reins and win HOH tonight as well. I wanted her to change the narrative of her game and start to be taken seriously based off her winning something. But by Xavier winning it, this is actually great. Because now Xavier can protect Azai indirectly, but he gonna have to put Brittany up, and she gotta be okay with that. I don't want to see Azai in the edit. What's up with these black men targeting all these people part of the team? They're not coming for you though. Self-preservation, coach. Self-preservation. Also keep in mind, the less numbers you have on your team, down the line, it's gonna benefit you. You know why? Because that Kings team, now every member of that team has won a comp. Think about it. Christian won a wild card. Sarah won a wild card. Whitney, she was a captain that won a competition to become a captain. And now you have Xavier as the third HOH. That entire team looks like massive threats right now. Now, Sarah, she's in good with Kai. Xavier's in good with Kai. In theory, I even saw Kai and Tiffany talking about this. They were kind of worried if they had the right firepower to match up with that group. But Kai basically is under the assumption Xavier, Zhao, and Sarah will flip on Christian and Alyssa in Final 8. So Alyssa, she may think it'll be some variation of 5 versus 3 because she's thinking, okay, we still have X, and then we're going to have Zhao because I can just flirt with him. That's just how Alyssa thinks. She thinks she can flirt with anybody and have them on side. So she thinks, oh, we'll have Zhao, we'll have X, we'll have Sarah, and we'll have the showmans. That's 5 versus the 3 of Tiffany, Claire, and Kai. Kai and Tiffany are smart enough to understand, no, because the Jackpot twins also is a Jackpot trio, which includes Sarah. Sarah has a final 2 with Kai. Xavier has a final 3 with Kai and Flambeau, and a final 2 with Kai, meaning Xavier and Sarah and Zhao all flip in that scenario, forcing Christian and Alyssa to be most likely one of them will be the final 8 boot, if it gets to that. But I'm saying all this to say it's a lot of game to be played. There's a lot of alliances that are fluidly moving in and out of each other. Azai is not really in none of these besides Cookout. Because of this, and this is another thing I'm frustrated with, the people who are mad at Tiffany and Hannah for not extending their arms to Azai, what you got to understand is Azai signed up for 2 different things week 1. She signed up to allow the Cookout to be her social game for her because she stayed in the room, and she signed up for Frenchie to be her meat shield. Frenchie's gone. Now all of her reliance is solely on all these other black people to carry her. Here's the thing. At a certain point, you got to pick up your own weight and you got to prove yourself to the team or else they'll replace you with someone who can pick up their own weight. That's why I wanted Ozzy to win this HOH. So that needs to be stated. So even though she's good with Xavier winning this HOH, I want to create that dichotomy there and the difference between how I see Azai's game looking if she would have won the HOH compared to and contrasted to Xavier winning it and Azai still having to rely on more black players to smooth over her game for her. You know, right now, the way the game is looking, Azai's chances of winning are dwindling by the second until she wins something. And honestly, I was worried that if she went after Brent, it would be hard for her to seal Brent's fate on her own, right? So in the end, maybe this is best for Oz's game long term. Who knows? Maybe she pulls a Godfrey. You know what I mean? Godfrey took 4 weeks off, right? Anything is possible. Now, Brent then goes to Christian and Whitney on the hammock and says they gotta take out the women's alliance Frenchie created. Christian, through confessional, reveals he isn't down with that plan because Slaughterhouse is no more, leaving Brent to be leaving Brent to be sent to the slaughter. Brittany decides to rap even more during her speech, but it was so corny she needed sunglasses just to overcome the stage fright. This level of cultural appropriation I didn't even like when Damien did it during BB23 so I'm definitely not gonna like this here. Frenchie gets evicted 11-1. I believe it was Frazier who gave the one vote towards him. Julie asks Frenchie if he regrets not taking the temptation. He says he doesn't because the pictures of his family were worth it. I'm pretty sure your family would have preferred if you stayed in this game a week longer. You know? I'm pretty sure they'd have been like, hey, man, do whatever it takes. I'm pretty sure that's what they told you before you left out, man. I get it. You're trying to go out and not seem salty, but just be honest with yourself. You should have took it, man. In my opinion, it was in your personality type to just go all out. And let's be real, there still has not been another temptation offered since Frenchie, which is once again more suspicious to me because it's 2 black men in a row that get the opportunity to be offered something Frenchie was offered, and we see nothing of equal value. It's almost as if because the cookout exists, they feel like that's powerful enough, so we're not going to make them overpowered. Interesting. I remember Tyler having a cloud app or something that turned him into Thanos for 3 weeks. But now we're going to act like those don't exist anymore. All right. Look, hey, I'm just saying, there better not be no overpowered twist later when someone non-black wins HOH again. I'm just saying what people are thinking. But let's continue. Tiffany, my fault. He says he doesn't, Tiffany tells Frenchie he would have won if they let him stay. Brent tells Frenchie he was loyal to him until he crossed him. Brittany vows to go after Kylan in her goodbye message, which is why I'm hoping she leaves over Whitney. Whitney, win that veto for me. And Flambeau claims he will win the game for the both of them, which no one believes. The HOH comp is called Tom Talks Big Brother. I didn't understand why Tom Green was brought here before Tamar Braxton. Once again, production is showing us they're still up to their old ways, but that's neither here nor there. It's a standard true or false comp, but they must hear what Tom says in the video and then answer based on what they remember being said. Brent goes out first during the first group of people, allowing Ozza to throw the HOH because she didn't feel as threatened anymore. When it was down to 5 people left, Claire clearly threw it as well. And then at the end, it felt like everyone threw it to Xavier for the best possible outcome to keep Ozza safe and King safe. And this still leaves aces and jokers, most likely, making up the nominations this week. I just don't see a king going after a queen. They're already down to 3 people. In all likelihood, Whitney will be the one taken out before Brittany just because they have 4 people still in that group of aces. So most likely Kings will want to make sure they weakened every team before this team twist is lifted. But here's the problem, though. This is a lot like Survivor in this case. Usually the team or the tribe that hasn't lost anyone before the merge, they're usually the ones who get screwed over the most when the merge happens. Because you have all these other tribes come together like Voltron, like, oh, these dudes think they untouchable, huh? Let's hit them with some adversity real quick. You know, I'm not saying this is likely to happen to Team Kings, but I do believe Christian is getting way too deep with Alyssa. Brent believes, and he's fully misted by Alyssa, he thinks that's his girl. He thinks she's all in on him. He thinks he's her number one. So you know Christian wants Brent gone. Christian is definitely probably going to push Xavier to backdoor Brent if they have the opportunity. If I'm Xavier, I don't make that play. I 100% get a woman out. And Christian should understand that a woman has to go right now. If you get out Brent in another backdoor scenario, listen, you're getting into a dangerous future where you could have 8 women and only 4 guys in the final 12. The women will have a 66.7% control of every vote. That's not what you want. That's not what you want, coach. They're going to decimate y'all. And it's gonna feel like Celebrity Big Brother US Season 2. If y'all lucky, Kylan's Ricky Williams. He the only guy that makes it there to the end. Everybody else is Shadow Realm. But anyway, let's continue. So yes, when it was down to 5 left, Xavier ended up winning. Now let's get into feeds, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna give y'all my take on some of these feeds real quick. Then we'll answer some of y'all questions. All right. I just want y'all to be up to speed with some of the gameplay that was going down. Of course, I wasn't able to see every bit of feeds, especially today, but I definitely caught up on yesterday's. And this really, in my opinion, I'm gonna do a good job of explaining it. I freestyled a lot of this, but there also are some things that even I can't remember to freestyle. So on Wednesday afternoon around 3:30 p.m., Azza finds out from Brittany that Brent has labeled Azza a floater, how he doesn't know the difference between a floater and a coaster. Azza wants the HOH, so in her speech, she can say Brent deserves to be nominated for framing Brittany for starting the Women's Alliance. This is the Azza the Mazza gameplay I've been asking for. She's finally starting to wake up, but she needs another week. So Xavier, it was smart to redshirt her this week. I still don't believe Azza is ready yet to really get it cracking. She needed this extra week, and hopefully her and Zhao, they can metamorphosis together. Now, and Brittany appears to be her ride or die after Frenchie leaves, not Frazier, because he is now in the final 3 with X and Kai. Azza and Brittany are both fully aware they need HOH or Brent is coming for them. Now, Brittany told Christian to win it to protect them, but I don't see Christian winning an HOH. He doesn't have to win. Brittany already told us she's going to throw it because she promised Kai and X she would keep them safe, meaning there's no way Brittany is going for this. So it really put all the pressure on Azza. So I want that to be stated as well. If Brittany is sent home this week, this is also her fault. Because in my opinion, she should have been fighting just as hard as Azza was fighting to keep Brent off of the both of them. The fact that Brittany felt like this was an exclusively Azza problem is Brittany kind of selling her girl out a little bit. And it makes me wonder, why was Brittany so ride or die when it came to Frenchie, but when it come to Azza, not so much, but she want to be the one spitting bars on live television? See the grift unfold. Grifters kick it with grifters, all right? Birds of a feather. But let's continue, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so at the end of the day, this is coming down to Azza the Mazza versus Backdoor Brent, 2 members of my original top 5 going at it. The Infinity War has begun. Frenchie had to be sacrificed for the real game within a game to commence here. Azza is fully aware how fake Brent was to be all up Frenchie's ass one week, but now try to manipulate the house heading into week 3 after flipping. And you got to keep in mind, Azza has every right to feel this way about Brent and Whitney because Azza, Flambeau, and Brittany, just for being on Jokers, take all the heat for Frenchie's actions. But Brent and Whitney are the ones who were with him 24/7, that were given preferential treatment over the rest of Jokers, even more so than Flambeau to a certain degree. And yet they're the ones that get to flip on him and get to be 7 steps removed from all of the stuff Frenchie did. Azza has every right to feel like, yo, how does this guy get to paint me in this light when he was doing the stuff he blaming me for doing with Frenchie? So from that perspective, I feel you 100%, Azza, and that's why I don't want you to be frustrated. I want you to compartmentalize these thoughts. I want you to keep them in that memory bank. And when time comes, the clapback season is at an all-time high. But until then, coach, keep it there. We got this. It's gonna be cool. And keep it a bean. You got X and Kai. Listen, coach. All right, no one wants to deal with. They're looking like Iron Man and War Machine. Matter of fact, they're Killmonger and T'Challa. No one wants any smoke with any of these two. So you can just be Zuri in the cut. You know what I mean? You ain't got a trip right now. It's lit right now. Now, Brent is now using microaggressions to make Azza the easy target to further gang up on her team because Frenchie represents them. I condemn all use of microaggressions for gameplay. So for starters, Brent is out of pocket and out of bounds to imply Azza snapped on him or checked him just for explaining the difference between a floater and a coaster. It's Brent trying to take this game back to the dark days of BB15, where you label a black woman a hothead to make her have to be one to defend herself from the lies. Candace, we haven't forgot about what they did to you. You know, I'd argue you had to walk over coals for these sisters to strut and do they thug thizzle on Broadway. You know what I mean? Hey, Candace had to be put through some bull for these ladies to be able to go to the same school. Now let's continue. I acknowledge there is no place for these Bush League tactics, but I also wish Azza played better week 1 so this wasn't even believable of a story to tell. Understand, her staying away in that room and hiding behind Frenchie's moves gave players the impression she was no different than her teammates. Also, add the perception of being one of these house guests and seeing Azza go with her team to the bedroom as soon as nominations ended. That didn't help her case either. See, What I would have wanted from Team Jokers in that moment is to hug it out with everybody. Don't be sore losers. Don't cry. Don't show up. Don't run to the bedroom. And that's not what we want to see out of y'all. You gotta still understand it's a game. By y'all going to that room the way y'all did, y'all made it seem like y'all were united front, pissed off. You made it seem like y'all all represent Frenchie's moves as a united front. You made it seem like y'all are just as sketchy as him. What I would have done is made Frenchie walk in that room by his damn self and been around everyone else to let them know, hey man, listen, this team twist screwed me over. Trust me, I wouldn't be with this guy at this point if I had a choice. That's the difference, right? I think by Isaac going in that bedroom right after Noms, she made herself seem a lot closer to these people than she really should have given off. But with that said, once again, let's not forget Xavier winning HOH safeguards her, but these are the mistakes I want her to correct in the future, and that's why I'm putting them on blast. Now, so like I said, understand her staying away in that room and hiding behind Frenchie's moves gave players the impression she was no different from her team. And her running into that bedroom after nominations didn't help her either. All these moves by Joker's players as a whole, influenced by Frenchie, has put them all on the outs of the house. Frenchie should have went out of his way to include Azza in other alliances, but he chose to leave her out. To be fair, Azza kind of preferred it that way up to when Noms happened, and by then she had to smooth things over with women for Frenchie. Then she got ticked off over how Brent and Whitney were getting preferential treatment, and then that's when she really started to really be ticked off. But for the most part, she was cool up to a certain point, making her appear once again as a follower, a floater more than her own player. I'm not justifying Brent's microaggressive gameplay, because I already said he was wrong, but I'm also not justifying Azza's poor gameplay implementation week one either. Everyone needs to be held accountable. ATM and Flambeau relied on the rest of the cookout to be their social game and relied on Frenchie to be their team shield. All that reliance on others makes them appear less trustworthy to follow through with promises than those who have actually achieved something so far this season. All of Team Kings has won something. Claire and Kai both won something. Zhao and Whitney both won something. But nobody on Jokers now can say they've won anything because Frenchie's gone. To be fair, they haven't really been picked for any veto, so it really has come down to mainly the HOH and the wild card. But my point still stands here. Y'all need to be taken more seriously as a team by winning something. When you got a teammate like Brittany, I was just on the block, but I'm going to throw the next HOH. And then I'm going to wrap. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? What? And see, that's why, you know what? You deserve to be a pre-jury boot if that's what you here for, huh? You think your kindergarten class think them bars is dope, coach. I'm just saying what it is, man. You know, if you want to do that conjunction junction, what's your function? You feel it, dig me? Hey, man, do that somewhere else. Don't do that on CBS. Now, what's worse is, Azza doesn't know about the newly formed alliance of kings and queens. They've gone far enough to come up with nicknames that have these English accents, such as Duke Derek for Zhao, Sir X for Xavier, Princess Sarah for Dr. Bones, King Kai of Queensland for, of course, Killmonger, Queen Claire, and of course you have Duchess Tiffany of Tippy Toes. I'm like, yo, they got some crazy names. They sound like hitmen. Huh? Well, let me find out y'all done turn this into Kingsmen. You know what I mean? Listen, they building a Katsuki in the cut, and you got Azza taking naps. I need you to wake up. You know what I'm saying? I need you to wake up. It's getting real in these streets. They are becoming a tight unit, and this may be a problem for Azza, Flambeau, and Brittany, because I don't see a way for them to cut in unless they start winning stuff. Hence why everything rides on tonight. Brittany talks to Tiffany and tells her Azza wants to win HOH to get Brent out badly. Tiffany just says, let her. Tiffany's funny as hell, dog. Now, Tiffany doesn't think Brent has a real target this week, so she assumes he's going to throw it. Her read was correct. Actually, I think Tiffany was more concerned that Whitney wouldn't throw it than Brent. That says a lot to me. That tells me Tiffany is playing really well around Brent. Brittany is more focused on throwing HOH to lay low, believing her social game is all she needs to survive. Her plan is, I'm going to be really nice, and I'm going to make Kai forget about my presence, and then I'm going to get revenge for Frenchie. That's her whole thing. She acting like Frenchie is a Yellow Wolf or something. Like, bro, you acting like this dude a down south rapper or something, and you trying to get a deal, boy. If anything, Frenchie, you can't trust him. He giving you a 360. But if Azza doesn't win it, she needs Brittany to. If Brittany throws and Azza loses, it could be what lands both ladies on the block. But since a black man won HOH, we don't have to worry about that. Now, both Brittany and Tiffany believe everyone will throw a Brent and Whitney besides them. Zhao and Hannah also appear down with throwing the HOH to make Brent a sitting duck as well. Zhao specifically doesn't like how Brent talks to women. Christian tries to justify it as him being an alpha male, but even alphas can be gentlemen. Like, Christian, chill out, bro. Right when the black community is starting to co-sign your chicken and waffles crazy ass, you start talking like misogyny's okay. Chill out. You know what I mean? And see, I thought he would use that opportunity to throw him under the bus more because that's competition for Alyssa. But it's almost like he's trying to nut hug in front of other people. But then again, maybe he said that in front of Zhao because Zhao's on Brent's team and he wants Zhao to believe he's all in with Brent. Okay, Christian, maybe that's the game within a game you're playing. Sometimes I gotta talk myself into, okay, there's a method to the madness. Now, by the sounds of it, Brent's own manipulation of Azza is being reflected back on him as if he has a mirror by many members of Slaughterhouse who plan to throw HOH and members of the Royal Kingdom. Tiffany is so good, she sends players she isn't even working with to find information from people Tiff doesn't trust. In theory, she's playing with fire because Brittany could rat her out, but this being before Frenchie leaves, Brittany can't really afford to not adapt here over going against the grain. Tiffany believes Brent is the most dangerous guy in the house after Frenchie leaves. Only Ace's winning screws up this plan. Brittany told Tiffany that Whitney will throw HOH, how her, Zhao, and Hannah agreed to throw it to Brittany or Azza to get Brent out. So Whitney is further showing how slick she is. She is willing to cut both Frenchie and Brent back to back. That's not someone I would want to work with in the future. If this chick is willing to cut the two dudes that she was slobbing down the last 2 weeks, I don't want to work with you. Because listen, you are the snake in the grass. By the way, that was a great rant on Patreon. Become a patron today, coach, and y'all get to check out every rant this season. Trust me, it's worth it. It was a 2-hour special last night. They digging it. But anyway, her throwing this HOH could be a massive choke. Tiffany asks about Flambeau and Brittany. Tiffany asks about Flambeau, and Brittany says he wants Brent out too. I kind of feel guilty for wanting Brent to win HOH now just for entertainment. I mean, the way everyone is so bothered by this guy, and the fact that I knew that Azza would stay even if she was on the block next to Brittany on Thursday, that played a role in why I didn't mind Brent winning HOH. So before people try to create this narrative, oh, Dave, you wanted Brent to win HOH because you don't like the black woman, or if they come up with some narrative like that. No, it's literally I knew Azza would stay anyway. I knew Brittany would go. And at the end of the day, I thought it was the best case scenario because we want these fees to stay high octane. Now, I think Xavier winning this HOH, he's going to do more of what Kai did. Continue the calmness. Slow it down. You know, I'm talking Cristiano Ronaldo versus Barcelona type stuff. 2011, Jose Mourinho's team. That type stuff. If you know, you know. You know I got them A1 analogies. Now, Brent talks with Team Aces, not knowing the rest of them are in on getting him out. He claims Alyssa won't tell him what the plan is, so Aces and Kings can agree on the same move. Brent then claims he's Alyssa's number one, so he's under her mist. He also claims if she is playing him now, she will lose him forever. Who you think you are, Seth from the OC? What? You think this is Summer Roberts you talking to? He also claims if she is playing... Oh, I already said that. Zhao had to speak up and remind Brent he's talking about a lady here. And that's when I knew, oh, Zhao, you're playing such a good game. Hannah looked at him, oh, my dreamboat. Soon as he said that, you could tell Hannah was falling. She's falling in and out of love with a Zhao. You feel it, dig me? She's feeling it, Zhao. But I think Zhao moving to Azza, though. See, it's going to be a love triangle real soon. But one thing's for sure, though. Zhao, he like himself He like more than just the Kung Pao. You know what I mean? Zhao, he like the Frank's Red Hot too. You know what I mean? And we ain't mad at that, Zhao. I could see a possible Kiefer in you, and now I'm seeing it. I remember how close Kiefer was to Queen Toya. I remember how he had her back through thick and thin. Hell, he even had Victoria's back, Spicy V. I remember that. So, in my opinion, Zhao he's fulfilling the prophecy. The 1,000 Dragon is coming to life. I told y'all, if y'all let this dude stick around, he just gonna get better. The Time Wizard is here. But anyway, Now, Zhao mentions how as a team, they don't want to slide to the top or the bottom. Oh man, this guy's slick. As long as they stay in the middle, Mitchell Moffitt strategy, pay attention, the house will always want to work with them. Zhao is showing real signs of being the leader that Aces always needed. If he implements this strategy correctly, after Brent is taken out, in theory, he and Hannah are guaranteed the jury. I see you, Zhao. I see you. This dude is finna be a dangerous asset. And Kai got him in his pocket. And that's why Kai's sitting real good. And that's why Xavier winning this HOH to follow up Kai is even better. I'm loving it. Ba-da-da-da-da. Now, Brent and Whitney appear to be in an alliance with Queens called the Mafia, but there is also an alliance involving them and the Kings called the Radicals. Why is everything so violent with this guy, Brent? I never noticed. Like, the Butchers, Slaughterhouse, the Mafia, the Radicals. Like, at least Tiffany and Claire be like, jackpot. Like, at least they thinking about the money. This dude thinking about straight violence, bro. Chill out. But anyway, seems Brent is more loyal to the Radicals just because he wants Alyssa, meaning Kai is smart to want Brent gone, but even smarter to make that deal anyway because he won't be targeted if Brent wins HOH. Brent and Whitney agree it will get messy soon, but for their games, the only noms that make sense are Azah and Brittany because those two they aren't aligned with in the entire house. So if Whitney gets thrown up, she might throw a real hissy fit here because she doesn't think she is anywhere near the woman that should be thrown up before Azah. So if there is a variation of Brittany and Whitney, and then you have to add the fact that Xavier has flirted a lot with Whitney, this could compromise Xavier's game. That's why I need these sisters to back this brother up when Whitney hits that block now. Because he doing this, well, let's be real, the women want Brent out more than Whitney. It ain't as if he's doing him a favor. But he still is protecting you, Azah, by throwing up Whitney and kind of exposing some things prematurely to keep you off that block. Understand the sacrifice these black men are willing to pay to keep y'all from touching that block. I mean, I think there should be some more appreciation for them. Because other players, like Dan, he'll throw up his ally. Hey, Memphis, you got to be my pawn this week. You feel it, dig me? And that's even when it might be risky that they don't have the numbers. These black folks, you can argue, always have the numbers. They still don't want to risk throwing each other up. So I think there should be more appreciation for these brothers keeping the cookout strong by winning stuff, which the other part of the group aren't doing. But then on top of that, they're protecting them and creating great game excuses for why they don't ever consider them, right? That's part of the con too. That's part of great elite gameplay as well, right? This isn't as this isn't just black and white. This stuff is orange, green, yellow, gray. It's everywhere. It's yellow like the mustard that just got cut. But anyway, it does seem like Brent would turn on Flambeau first if Azah or Brittany won veto during Brent's HOH. So I guess that's a good thing that Brent didn't win. Because we could have had a scenario where Brittany wins veto, and then we have two black people on the block next to each other, and that guarantees a cookout member goes home. So I guess in theory, it's good that Brent didn't win HOH in hindsight. But this is why I wanted to implement my notes as well and bookend it, because there's some things that even I won't mention in the freestyle. Now, fans appear to be mad at Tiffany for not admitting she knows Brent most likely is targeting Azah. But what is Tiffany supposed to do here? Hurt her game by admitting this, and then Azah compromises Tiffany's social game by trying to talk to her more than necessary? Until HOH is played, Tiffany's best move is to appear loyal to the Mafia while trying to help the cookout. If we all knew Kai stayed over Alyssa, why are we so nervous about Brittany staying over Azah? Azah has 5 votes for her to stay next to Brittany as long as she doesn't hurt her game. Tiffany knows this. That's why she isn't saying too much. Because right now, Azah is far behind on the gameplay being played. It also seems like Alyssa wants to go after Azah. Based off some conversations I heard between her and Xavier yesterday, it seems like she's a little threatened by Azah possibly winning HOH because she's talking to Xavier like, hey, you need to compete for wild card because I don't trust Azah. And I don't know if she was fishing to see if there's a black alliance by making Xavier have to explain whether he feels safe with Azah or not. Because technically speaking, he shouldn't. Based off how the game is shaking out, he should feel like Azah is someone worth targeting. But for Xavier's game, it was wise. He said, me and Christian won't be targeted by her. So he lumped Christian in it. That was smart. Make it not a black thing. Make it a team thing. So Xavier was safeguarding himself before this HOH reign even started. So Xavier, I got to give you credit there too. You know, see, I'm noticing stuff. And that's why I got to give these people credit where it's due. Azah is like a fan who missed the first week of feeds trying to keep up during week 2. Making up that week of information is almost impossible without winning HOH. So all she needs is to focus on winning that because Tiffany wants her to take out Brent. because she said that to Brittany. Plus, Brittany was thrown up by Kai, so she has reason to go after him. So it behooves Tiffany to take Brittany out over Azza 100%. Kai is Tiffany's mastermind son, after all. Now, Alyssa tells Xavier to compete for the next wild card because she thinks Azza will want a guy out. X believes he and Christian are safe with Azza, but Alyssa seems to have a beef with her. He seems to have a beef with Azza the way she keeps trying to push for Xavier to go for wild card. Alyssa believes since Team Kings have won every wild card and haven't slipped up yet, this is the only reason why everyone seems to want to work with them. Now that makes sense because they have the Kingdom and the Radicals alliances. But Team Kings are so Team Kings are really the power players right now, mainly because they've all won something. This goes back to what I was saying about Team Jokers. Because none of you have won anything, and because Team Kings is the opposite, all of them have won something. It's a lot harder for you to convince people to flip on these guys who most likely will have a member who's the next HOH. It's really hard to convince them to flip on those people. Okay? And that's why I believe Xavier being part of that very powerful group of people who have won everything and having this HOH, not Christian, not Alyssa, was very key. It was very timely, very important. Now, all four Kings deserve to be in the top 5 power rankings, arguably, after what I've witnessed on feeds. Alyssa says she trusts Queens more than Aces 100% because they would have the numbers versus them. But little does Alyssa know, Zhao is the unspoken fourth Queens member. They also would have X more loyal to Tiffany and Kai, meaning if it got to the final 8, it wouldn't not be 5 versus 3 the way Alyssa thinks. In fact, it would be more like 2 versus 6 because nobody would allow that showmance to go any further. X already expects Christian to change throughout the season over Alyssa. Alyssa also wants Zhao to throw the wild card. So what you're noticing here is Xavier, and see, this is funny. Yesterday on feeds, last night, Tiffany approached Xavier worried that he was mad crushing over Alyssa. She was trying to get his head on straight. It really looked like a mother having a conversation with her son about dating a non-black girl. Fellas, we've been through this before. Didn't it feel like deja vu watching Xavier having to answer to Tiffany over this type of stuff? It was classic to me. Now, Xavier did the best job he could of basically saying, yeah, she's my type. Yeah, Big Brother's definitely trying me, tested me and giving me my own temptation, if you will. But at the end of the day, I'm not here for that. And it feels like even Tiffany is trying to push him towards Azza, who they all can tell has the hots for him. But yeah, Xavier kind of put her in that sister zone. Oh, she's more of a sister to me. And if you've ever liked somebody, there's 2 zones you don't want to be in, the friend zone or the sibling zone. And let's keep it real. I'd rather be in the friend zone than the sibling one because at least the friend could eventually date you. The sibling, oh, that shit's damn near impossible. They're telling you right now, I don't see you that way. Like they're really putting a barrier between the two of you that you can't pass ever. So at the end of the day, at least she got Zhao shooting his shot at her. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, and who knows, maybe one of these brothers get jealous they see that dude macking. You never know. I just hope it don't turn into no Christian stuff where everybody territorial trying to target one another over a woman. Chill out on that. But other than that, I mean, I did tell people during my WTF that Alyssa would make these dudes like target each other over her. It does feel like that's very possible fairly soon. Now, Fiends did segue to Zhao talking to Azza, extending a life vest to her when no one else in the house would around 8:40 p.m. Big Brother time. Zhao warns Azza he's heard her team's name be mentioned several times, and he needs her to win HOH to shake up this house. This is when Black Twitter started standing Zhao to a higher power. I've never seen black folks rock with Zhao this hard body, and I honestly was happy to see that people are figuring out Zhao's always been that dude, but they're starting to see it for show now. Zhao knows he needs Brent gone so he can run Aces effectively. Unfortunately, the rest of this conversation was taken off the cams in favor of watching the house guests cleaning up the kitchen. I'm like, what is production doing? This is what we all want to see, and you looking at Frazier with a big-ass towel wiping down the countertop like, hey, no more food in the living room, guys, okay? Everybody like, yeah. Like, this takes precedent over game talk? Production. What is this? I was disappointed. Now, Frenchie then talks to Tiffany and acts like his legacy as a player is that in future seasons there will be no more racism week 1. That's my legacy. But Frenchie, you threw up a black man and a Latin woman week 1. What did you change? You didn't throw up 2 white folks week 1. What is he talking about? And we even saw him during his exit interview with Julie allude to this. Someone's gotten in his ear and told him, "Oh, that's your impact, bro. Ride with that." Man, he's getting the wrong counsel, in my opinion. They're giving him the wrong advice. Now, Tiffany handles this situation effectively by telling him he played with his heart too hard and too fast. While this is happening, clearly Azza is done talking to Zhao, because now she's in the back bedroom telling Brittany about how Tiffany, Hannah, and Claire never told her what she just found out. So this is what started social media turning on Tiffany and Hannah a little bit. Oh, well, they were mainly mad at Tiffany because Tiffany is the one everyone views as the impeccable social player. So everyone feels like, oh, so you're this social player who's this good at conveying words, but you can't convey words to Azza now. So I kind of get where people are coming from. But once again, she wasn't going to risk her game for Azza. With Azza, she ain't even got out of first gear yet. If this is One Piece, Tiffany is gear third. You feel it, dig me? She is whooping ass. No disrespect to you, Doflamingo. But she's whooping ass. She got gear third activated. Azza's still in gear one. Now, if she would have won this HOH, maybe gear two is pending. But she's still in gear one right now, still relying on other people to do the work. That's just the truth, you know? I'm here to tell y'all the truth. So like while this is happening, she's basically telling Brittany like how she can't believe Tiffany, Hannah, and Claire left her in the dark about being the likely target of Bryn and whatnot. So now Tiffany, Hannah, and Claire look funny style to Azza, but ladies and gentlemen, what were these three women supposed to do? Tell Azza and put more pressure on her to win an HOH that has enough pressure on it already? If Bryn is painting Azza in the light of being emotional, these players may fear her reaction. Now, I get it. Two black women shouldn't fear that reaction out of someone who's in cookout with them. But once again, Azza was in her room a lot after they made the cookout. They might not know if Azza's the same person post-Frenchie getting thrown under the bus, right? These people aren't around her enough to know if things have changed, right? So these things have to be taken into consideration as well. I don't want us to just cancel people for being good, sound game players. I want us to understand that we are asking for a unrealistic expectation from them to just regurgitate information just because the woman's black. At the end of the day, when the team twist gets lifted, then you have every right to be like, yo, y'all ain't nothing for not telling her this. But as long as this team twist is still here, people have to be a bit apprehensive of what they share. That's the truth, you know? Now, so now Tiffany, Hannah, and Claire look funny style to Azza. But like I said, what were they supposed to do? If Bryn is painting Azza in the light of being emotional, these players may fear her reaction. Zhao actually being in Azza's position week one is the only reason why I think he had the empathy to really fill her in, on top of the fact that he probably has a crush on her. Hannah, Claire, and Tiffany haven't been in that low of a position yet. Therefore, they felt it was best to wait until after HOH to reveal the truth to safeguard those good positions. I get it. It's never a good look to see two black women off code with another one. But you have to keep context in your mind and understand Frenchie did damage to Azza by proxy that created distance from her and these other two sisters. Azza also contributed to this disconnect by hiding in the room. This isn't Hannah and Tiffany going out of their way to be deceitful towards her. It's them looking out for their teams and their games. The same thing Azza and the rest of her team did week one. So if it was okay for Azza to be that way week one and rely on Frenchie, and she didn't complain when he threw up Kylan, did she? Just as much as I may hold Frazier accountable, did Azza did she create a stink over what happened to Kylan? No. So that was part of my reasons for believing she didn't have a right to throw a stink when Kylan threw Frenchie up next to Brittany. So all of this is eye for an eye. You have to look at it that way. If they know Azza stays over Brittany, they don't see the urgency in warning her. We all know from watching feeds that Hannah and Tiffany want Bryn out, so this isn't them choosing him over her. It's literally them waiting for HOH results to be safe, and Azza is too far behind to get caught up in a day. Azza says her targets are Bryn and Whitney. If one wins veto, the renown will be Hannah. Oh, no. So now fans think she's jealous of Hannah being so close to Zhao, so she's going to make Hannah the pawn because she wants Zhao closer to her. So now that's what fans... See, this is why you got to be careful creating this narrative that these black women are off code, because now other people will start instigating more and say, oh, well, Azza's hating on Hannah now because of that. And this is why I didn't want to really partake in this, but if it does spiral out of control into something, at least now y'all understand the origins of it. You know? So now fans think Azza's jealous of Hannah being close to DX, the only player giving Azza any information prior to this HOH. On Wednesday night, Showman's fever is at an all-time high. Christian is still choosing on Alyssa. Alyssa is playing with his heart by flirting with other men, and Alyssa even told Christian that her ideal personality type is Zhao. So now Christian no doubt will want Zhao gone. Damn it. And it appears Zhao is also the personality type of Hannah. I mean, this guy, this dude is like the Dos Equis man. As these two discuss how they will fool the house by waiting until Final Two to become a showmance, I doubt that happens because Christian is just too thirsty. Tiffany is grilling Xavier and HOH for looking just as thirsty for Alyssa himself. During this conversation, I gathered intel that clearly Xavier is into Alyssa, but he's not here for romance. Based on what he and Tiffany are alluding to, Azza has the hots for Xavier, but X only sees her as his sister. We've mentioned that. Most men. Okay. Well, let me finish this part. X also calls Hannah his little sister, though, so at least he's keeping that same energy with both black sisters. And of course, he doesn't want Whitney because she has baggage. Most men think this way, but Tiffany is very wise to make sure Xavier's eyes are never off the cookout prize, because as long as Kylan and Tiffany can keep X on side, there is no way Alyssa can control the late game. The next morning, Tiffany even proposes to Kylan that they take out Alyssa pre-jury because she has all these men distracted. Tiffany, if you can figure out a way to get Alyssa as a pre-jury boot taken out of this game, I think you win. I think she can win. I think Tiffany is realizing Alyssa is her immediate biggest threat. Of course, Brent is. But if you take Brent out of the mix, it's really Alyssa. Because once Brent's gone, Alyssa is the one who has so much pivoting prowess with all these thirsty dudes. And Tiffany knows these same dudes that are thirsty over her, the same one she has her own mist working on. Zhao, Xavier, Kylan, Christian. So it makes sense. The only dude that really ain't feeling Alyssa is Frazier, and we know why. You know what I mean? So the next morning, Tiffany even proposes to Kylan that they take out Alyssa pre-jury. But Tiffany's plan involves keeping Whitney around so she can do the dirty work herself after Brent is taken out by who they hope is a Team Kings player. So this is actually working how Tiffany wanted it to work when she was speaking to Xavier. When she was speaking to Kylan, Because when she told Kylan, she said she wanted someone in Team Kings to win HOH. She wanted them to be the ones to take out Brent, probably by backdoor. And then she wanted Whitney in response to be the one to take out Alyssa because Alyssa is the one everyone thinks is controlling everything behind the scenes of Team Kings. So if they can convince Xavier to take out Brent over Whitney after veto comp, Tiffany is definitely has the highest chance of winning the game from a resume standpoint so far if she can get this to work. Because this is her plan, and she announced it before Xavier ever won HOH. So it's checking out. So like I said, Tiffany's plan involves keeping Whitney around so she can target Alyssa. Tiffany is banking on Team Kings being the last team with 4 players and the house pivoting to cut them down to size. So what she's banking on is after Brent were to get taken out this week, in theory, then that would mean every team is down to 3 except Kings. Meaning there are 9 players who can gang up on the other 4 to get Alyssa out. Great gameplay. Great gameplay. This is mastermind stuff from Tiffany. Kylan appears to want to take Alyssa further in the game than Claire based on this conversation because he doesn't think Cookout can beat Claire towards the end like he assumes they all can beat Alyssa. Kylan, I get it. You have Mexican. You probably feel like just as much as you black, you probably feel like you owe something to Alyssa, but I got to keep it a bean with you, my guy. The quicker Alyssa leaves, the better your game shines through, bro. Because the more you can work Christian to your advantage. You and Xavier should be able to work Christian and weaponize him after Alyssa leaves if Whitney takes out Alyssa. Because then guess what? An angry, emotional Christian takes out Whitney for you before jury. See how everything works? How you don't have to lift a finger and all that drama is weaponized? Think back to BB12. Remember the brigade? They weaponized Rachel and Brendan like this. Eventually they weaponized Reagan and Brittany like this versus Brendan and Rachel. It's insane. It's top tier gameplay if implemented correctly. And I give Enzo credit for a lot of that season, and probably Matt, because Matt was doing a lot of instigating with Reagan. But so yeah, man, this stuff does have historical context to it. That's why I'm excited hearing it, because it tells me people have really been watching this game. They know what they are capable of doing based off what they've seen already been done. You know, so Kylan appears to want to take Alyssa further into the game, further than Claire. Kai needs to be careful, though, alluding to this so early because Tiffany has just as much loyalty to him as Claire. In theory, Tiffany could run this back to Claire at a certain point, and she can use that to her advantage. Now, me personally, I don't think Tiff chooses Claire over Kai unless it's a final three. Actually, I don't think she chooses that either. I think she bets on herself to beat Kai in that scenario. And salute to you, by the way, Tiffany, for saying you don't want to win this game off sentiment or your story. You want to win it based off the gameplay. That's always been my problem with Davon. I believe she won AFP not because of her gameplay, but because of sentiment, because of charity, because of welfare. I believe the only way for this game to truly turn the page and take a new step is for black players to drop the victimhood complex and to start attacking their dreams wholeheartedly and earning it. And that's a big reason why I didn't want Brent gone this week, because I wanted someone difficult to still be in this game, so you got to really earn it by having to deal with one of the toughest players this season making jury. Now, at the end of the day, I'll take it if it's a layup and someone black wins anyway. We ain't got time to be picky because we ain't seen it yet. Well, Tamar won, but a lot of people don't count that. But my point is, at the end of the day, we got to take what we can get. But at the same time, I don't want to be bored while breaking down these feeds either. Now, to get back to Tiffany, though, she is so smart. She knows there is value in using people to take out people and then taking that person out after. Using Whitney to get out Alyssa, make sure Queens isn't blamed for Kings losing her, meaning they can get Christian's mind back on the game and convince Christian to take Whitney out fifth right before jury. In my opinion, this is the best case scenario for the cookout as a whole. Alyssa is the biggest threat to their success because she could convince Christian to do anything, meaning she can weaponize him like Helen of Troy did Paris in the Trojan War. This alliance needs Alyssa gone before jury to work, just like Slaughterhouse believed they needed Frenchie gone to work. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's answer some of y'all questions. That was my update. Y'all are up to speed now. I'm pretty sure Xavier is throwing up Brittany and Whitney. It just seems like those are the likely nominations because he needs a woman to go home. I think there's an outside chance that even Claire could get targeted, though, if one of these women come off and he decides not to backdoor Brent. But I think for now it would be dumb for Xavier's game to turn on the Kings and Queens kingdom so soon. I mean, they just came up with these fly-ass nicknames in English or in the English accent. I would hate for them to be a Frenchie and start something, name it, and then just blow it up in 3 days. I would hate that. But, all right, I'm on my way to the live chat. Let's see what y'all talking about. And I hope y'all enjoyed this rant tonight. I try my best to give y'all a mixture of all worlds. I know y'all love the freestyles on Thursdays, and I'm always going to bring that heat. Y'all know me. But on top of that, also, ladies and gentlemen, please do not forget to hit that like button. Please do not forget to comment below and share this with all the fans of Big Brother that you rock with. Tiff idolizes Dan. Oh, yeah, Tiff is a problem, coach. Hey, man, listen, man. And see, that's why I don't understand why people are mad at her. It's like, yo, we finally have a mastermind who happens to be a woman from Detroit who's 40, and people are mad because she don't tell Ozzy something that didn't even matter now. Like, this is why I tell people, man, let's not blow things out of proportion. Like, sometimes, like, it feel like black folks want cookout to disband or something. The way they, like, instigate problems, they ain't really that big of an issue. But understand from a gameplay standpoint, though, it does make sense that Azza and Tiffany would go in different paths because Tiffany has been in that Hunger Game since day one. Okay, she has seen some things that Azza hasn't had the luxury, hasn't had to have to see. And because of that, Azza might not be ready just yet for the type of stuff she gonna tell her. You know, sometimes you gotta protect your kids from the harsh world outside. You know, to a certain degree, Asa should feel thankful she's been protected. Lexi asked the question, y'all think the team twist will end in 2 weeks? You know what? Yeah, knowing production, they'll probably end it after 4 weeks. I think they'll end it after next week. If I had to guess, I think they'll end it after next week. Mainly because this thing is getting old. You don't want there to be a scenario where you might have one team down to one player by the time the twist ends. And I think by doing it after 4 weeks, okay, the twist served its purpose. You know, a lot of players got caught with their pants down because they were relying too much on others because of this team's twist existence. While other players, the cream always rises to the top when you're elite, in my opinion. And they played as if there was no team twist because they're in so many alliances that incorporate multiple teams. So it really comes down to just your personality type. You know? I agree. Azza she can be confusing. Um, oh, you talking about the mustache mistress, Ubong? Whitney says Tiffany may end up being a Vanessa Russo. Kai has already acknowledged that she is a threat. I can see Kai cutting her a la Steve cutting Vanessa on BB17. I can see a situation where she cuts him like she cut Austin. You know, anything's possible. Anything's possible. Um, but as long as Tiffany stays up to date with her studying, I think she's going to be a difficult player to deal with. I think she's playing down her athletic prowess. Um, I think she's playing a lot of that stuff down. When it's time to get really real and get hungry, she's going to be. Oh, absolutely, Vonnie. Tiffany is definitely a legend, and she is the antithesis of what Dave. Tiffany is who fans think Davon is. No lies detected. You know, and I'm glad Tiffany is here, so now y'all see the difference. If Davon was playing like this since BB18, BB17 actually, oh, I would have never had no problem with her winning AFP. Hell, I would have had no problem with her being able to play this game 3 different times. But you have to ask yourself, if her game has never once been as impressive as Tiff's has been so far in 3 seasons, how did she make it on 3 seasons? You know? That's just what it is, man. Somewhere along the way, we stopped caring about people being good game players and we cared about whether they filled a quota of stereotypes. Tiffany, she ain't filling that stereotype quota. She giving y'all everything y'all thought y'all needed. That didn't know y'all needed, some of y'all, because y'all thought Davon was all of that, but she ain't. But that's neither here nor there. I don't want to put 2 black women against each other. My point is, at the end of the day, we got to stop overrating mediocrity, and we need to start giving credit to elitism. You're right, Kweku. She didn't have strategy. I agree, Chuck. It was welfare. Tiff's big brother idol, Dan, was not afraid to take shots and stand on the square when he had to. Absolutely true. Okay, all right, I'm seeing more questions. B. Grizz asked the question. What's good, B? Jackson Mickey got it cracking twice on his season and won the game. If Xavier don't get it cracking this week, Dave, is he, in your opinion? So you're saying basically if he don't try to get to third base with somebody, is he scared? That's what you basically saying. Oh, and I see what you're saying because Jackson, he had Holly and he had the Crimson Chin. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. I don't think that makes him a necessarily. I think that makes him a smart game player. At the end of the day, you got to think with your big head, not your little one. You feel it, dig me? You know, one of my favorite quotes ever is Dr. Umar Johnson keeping it all the way a bean. You know what I'm saying?
Consciousness over coochie. Politics over punani. I keep telling y'all that. Consciousness comes before coochie.
Never forget what you here for, my guy. You know? I feel like the route would be him simping. We don't need that. We need big pimping. You feel it, dig me? We need Sir X, the knighted one. You feel it, dig me? We need him to get it cracking, boy. You know what I'm saying? This man is part of the King's Guard. You know what I mean? I just hope he don't pull a Lannister. You know what I'm saying? And turn on his people. You feel it, dig me? But that's neither here nor there. Whitney asked the question, do you see Kai and Tiffany being analogous to Steve and Vanessa? Kai is aware of Tiff's prowess and may cut her in the end. I think it's a unique shout. Personally speaking, I think Kai has way more game than Steve ever had. I think we're being disrespectful to Kai there. I think, if anything, this is more of Austin and Tiffany. People forget how much Austin helped Tiffany in the early stages of the game. After Austin lost Jace, Tiffany really needed Austin and one of the twins in order to gain footing. You know, and at that time, Steve wasn't helping Tiffany at all. You know, remember, Tiffany was close to Audrey at a point. She had to abandon her because Audrey was tweaking. And she had to pivot and she had to work with Austin hard body. And then that's how she ended up going after Shelly and Clay. And then that's when Becky and then the Johnny Mac, he came back and then they worked together to basically be 3v3 and all that stuff. So my point is, at the end of the day, I don't think that's necessarily a one-to-one comparison. But at the end of the day, I think Zhao and Tiffany is closer to Steve and Vanessa based off how they started the games. But with that said, though, hey, man, Maybe there's an argument to be had that Kai, Tiffany, and Zhao are Austin, Vanessa, and Steve. Maybe there's an argument there. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people say that this season it really mimics BP16 because, of course, you have Brent kind of stalking Hannah, a la Caleb and Amber, and you have a whole bunch of other stuff popping off in the cut as well. I mean, people are saying that Flambeau is Victoria or Veronica. Well, I forgot her name, but they're saying he's her, like he's the GOAT of the season that everyone will take to the end because he can't win. Yeah, please don't forget to hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know I'm getting it cracking tonight. I know I got y'all rolling. Who puts up Frazier? I think everyone's scared to target him. I don't think anyone's scared to target him. I just think he benefits from Xavier being HOH. I think if Brent is HOH, we definitely could have had a situation where Brittany wins veto, takes herself off, Azai is sitting next to Flambeau, heading into Thursday, Cookout is forced to eat their own, and Brent is even more hated by the black community. We dodged a bullet, but Flambeau mainly dodged one because I think everyone sacrifices him before Azai. You know what? Yeah, I think they still sacrifice because of the hinky. I think they hold that against him, take him out over Azai. Y'all wild. So with Deadwalk asked the question, so with Frenchie gone, how does the whole underdog storyline operate now? Was it too soon for Xavier to get the HOH blood on his hands, or are we betting on the horses too quick here? Well, make no mistake about it here, Deadwalk. A black person's never won, so until we see that, they're still underdogs, all right? I'm keeping that a funky in these streets. Now, in terms of the context of this game, we can't deny that the black folks are in a positive situation. With that said, we've seen this story before. Now, granted, we haven't seen black excellence back-to-back like this before, but we've definitely seen black people be high up on a perch, get humbled really fast the minute some apps or some twists or some Grodner type ish gets implemented. So at the end of the day, I'm not getting ahead of myself. That's why I'm trying my best to keep all fans calm. I'm trying my best to keep them from fighting because what you got to understand is there's Tiffany Ultras over here. There's Azai Ultras over there. Hannah Ultras. You got the Hannah and you got the Tiffany Ultras going at it with the Azai Ultras. Xavier's HOH. I need a ceasefire. Can we calm it down, coach? I feel like Randy Moss on the Patriots. Can we calm it down, coach? It's going to be okay. You know what I mean? People be losing their heads over this stuff. Dog, we're in a good spot, black folks. Enjoy. Jeez. Sometimes we just don't want to be happy about nothing. Thank you, Dayton, Deton Glover. Thank you for saying this was a great rant. I try my best to provide some levity, man. I know sometimes, man, we a little too serious over here. I try my best to, once a week, get y'all to let y'all hair down and just enjoy being a fan of this game, man. What a time to be alive. Afriye Asamoah, I hope I pronounced that correctly, asked the question, if you had to rank all the black people game from who has the best chance to win it the least, how would you rank them? Ooh, I like this question, coach. You know what? I'm going to start a new thing. Best question of the night, you get an Infinity Stone. You're now a moderator. I like that question. Number 1, Tiffany. Number 2, Killmonger. Number 3, Hannah the Huntress. Number 4, Xavier Sir X. All right. Number 5, Azai the Maza. Number 6, Flambeau. Now, with that said, I think right now Flambeau is almost a pencil in to make the end. That don't mean he gonna win. I just rhymed on accident. I'm just that good at this. What can I say? See, it's crazy. You see Brittany with the struggle bars, then you see me accidentally rhyme. You go, there's levels to this. There's levels. You know what I mean? And see, this is why I critique people that rap bad, because I actually can. This ain't me just being, picking on people. It's me saying, hey, man, that's not your talent. I remember Jose blocked me from Twitter because I said he had no bars one day. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, Jose. I wasn't. All right? Marion Ali asked the question, what will the wild card comp be? Unfortunately, Marion, we don't have that information yet because wild card isn't played until Friday afternoon. So on my next rant, which most likely will be Patreon exclusive, I will be sure to give people that information. But if you look for the community page, I will be providing information there as well, even if you're not a patron. It just won't be in video format. All right, I ranked them for you. That was a great question, Coach. Flambeau would try to break up Frenchie and his wife. I didn't say that. Joey said it. I'm snitching. I'm doing what Zhao just did to Aces. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been my 12th rant of Big Brother 23 entitled Cut the Mustard. I wanted to give you all some, answer some questions, make sure I was able to get some feedback back from y'all. But based off some of the feedback I'm seeing in this live chat, y'all had a blast, y'all enjoyed yourselves. And as long as I'm seeing that, I can't be mad, coach. I didn't want this rant to be that long. Y'all know how Thursday nights be. Until I see more live feeds, I can't definitively go into any more deep conversation. So I hope you all appreciate that and appreciate this rant. I'm Dave Smith with Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. If you could, please don't forget to like the video, comment underneath it, and share with all the fans of Big Brother 23 that you rock with, all right?